I distinctly remember at one point in the game at a low level, I accidentally stumbled upon a spider queen, and over I kept trying to figure out how to best her and her spider babies in battle, but each time I was slaughtered and had to reload a save. I wasn't nearly powerful enough to take on the challenge at the time, but on my last attempt I threw a fireball at the queen and accidentally missed, instead hitting a web beneath her feet, and when the fireball collided with this surface, it lit the entire thing on fire and caused it to disappear, sending the spider queen falling towards the ground, and just to my luck, right towards a massive hole in the cave, which she then disappeared into forever. It's moments like this that make Baldur's Gate 3 so special, where you can pull off fantastic and impressive feats all by just using your own mind.
I cast Fireball. It's the solution for everything.
When I have a 99% chance to hit in D&D, and I still miss.
From where you're kneeling must seem like an 18-carat run of bad luck. Truth is, the game was rigged from the start.
Why do other people love D&D combat and hate the Divinity Original Sin 2 armor system, while I have the opposite opinion? Because both opinions are valid.
It is important to draw wisdom from many different places. If we take it from only one place, it becomes rigid and stale.
The difference boils down to human psychology, such as various levels of risk tolerance. So please, put down your torches and weapons of choice, and enjoy the trip into the depths of the human mind.
Your next stop, the Twilight Zone.
Those who enjoy uncertainty and risk find themselves drawn to D&D's wide range of outcomes, ranging from epic failures to awe-inspiring triumphs. The allure lies in the concept of the Skinner box. The human minds are more flooded with dopamine from randomly given rewards than consistent ones, but I have a much lesser risk tolerance, so the irritation overshadows the gained dopamine. Because when a great plan fails, due to forces outside my own control, it feels unfair that I have been robbed of agency and tactical payoff, and when I succeed, due to lucky dice rolls, it feels unearned, a hollow victory. That is why I much more desire control over the outcomes.
I am the one who knocks.
And enjoy meaningful planning, such as crunching numbers and calculating how to deal with enemies effectively, so every move delivers a maximum impact. It is time to do some math. For example, Divinity, Original Sin 2. Non-critical attack damage varies so little that it could be just one number and so little would change. In this case, if the sword attack deals from 5 to 6 damage, then the amplitude is 1.2. If the attack can crit with the standard 2 times modifier, then the amplitude is 2.4. So if the enemy has 8 GP and no damage reduction, can I one-shot it? Yes. If it is a critical hit, the probability depends on the critical chance. Can the enemy survive 2 hits? No, because 2 times the minimal damage is more than the enemy's HP. Conclusion. I will most likely need to land 2 hits to neutralize the enemy. And then there is D&D.
So hold on to your butts, cause
math's foreplay is over, and it is time for math to penetrate your mind. For example, if my attack deals 1d6 and there are no other modifiers, then the amplitude is 6. If the attack can crit with the standard 2 times modifier, then the amplitude is 12. So if the enemy has 8 GP and no damage reduction, can I one-shot it? There is a 5% chance to get nat 20 and crit, doubling the rolled damage dices. To roll 8 or more with 2d6 is 41.67% according to the dice probability calculator, so 2.1% to one-shot. If the attack hits 4 times, there is an 81.5% chance not to hit a critical even once by doing 4 attacks, and to roll less than 8 with 4d6 is a little bit less than 5. 4% according to dice probability calculator, so a little bit less than 4.4% to survive without any heals. Do you see why one and the same attack in D&D can range from just a scratch to obliterating the target? Why is it really difficult to make any meaningful plans, and often you must just roll the dice and hope for the best? Moreover, can you see what difference makes various amplitudes when calculating possible outcomes? How does D&D overcomplicate things? If you wish to make D&D sessions more prediction-friendly, as your math dealer, I have you covered. My D&D house rules are to make all roll outcomes as the roll's max value divided by 2, such as 4d6 would be automatically 12, while also can have a separate normal roll for a critical hit if it applies, in order to take advantage of the Skinner box. Or if it is too predictable for you, then cap the roll outcomes according to your sensibilities, ensuring the outcomes don't swing too wildly for you, therefore retaining the thrill of random rewards while having a bigger sense of control over the outcomes of your actions. Of course, some tweaks might be needed, such as bonuses to hit chance, but you know how the math dealing business runs. You get people hooked with a freebie.
Phase 2? Phase 3, profit!
My another problem with D&D is that opponents the vast majority of the time feel like bland stat blocks. devoid of spicy game mechanics that spark intrigue. So the enemies feel samey, and after some time I have nailed the optimal strategy to deal with them all, so fights become a mindless grind. There is a reason why the fireball meme exists.
I cast fireball. It's the solution for everything.
That is why I prefer on creative special abilities-based puzzle-like fights, which I cannot brute force, and where I must decipher my opponent's abilities and counter them with wit and cunning. For example, in Divinity Original Sin 2, there is a fight against demons, who keep resurrecting and are such a pain, until the super satisfying lightbulb moment, when I understood that they resurrect in a cursed fire. By using the insight, I first got rid of the cursed fire, by using for me available tools, such as neutralizing the curse with Bless, so it becomes regular fire, and demons cannot resurrect there. And when it was the payback time...
Excuse me, is this the ferry to Staten Island?
This puzzle-like nature makes me engaged, even if it is not my turn to act, because I'm trying to figure out the mystery, especially if the DM or game developers have nailed the art of giving clues. In the mentioned example, to get to the fight I needed to extinguish cursed fire, which made sure that I knew how to do it and gave a hint. Of course, even stat block enemies can create puzzle-like fights, which is proven by Baldur's Gate 3 developers, by using a great game design, such as smartly positioning them, adding environmental hazards and so on, so it can cause lightbulb moments, but it is still like typing only with one hand, such as there are much weaker safeguards from brute forcing these fights, and the enemies themselves still do not ooze personality, compared if they had unique game mechanics. So why do people even enjoy facing stat block enemies? Because the fights are more effortless. Because if a player must figure out a complex puzzle every fight, it can become very mentally exhausting. Especially if the player is already mentally exhausted from other life's duties, the puzzle-like fights become outright unplayable, such as if a player gets stuck to find the answer or becomes very confused, overwhelmed, then becomes sidelined, which is opposite to desired engagement. Also, it easier feeds the power fantasy to accomplish great things, because the same way in the game characters can lift a cow, they can also outsmart geniuses, but being confronted with a real-life intellect check might destroy the fantasy, or maybe they outright do not know better, because stat block enemies are so widespread, while puzzle-like are much rarer, because for DMs and developers it is much easier to change some numbers than to develop unique mechanics, so these players do not have enough reference points from which to gain a perspective. After all, not everybody is an interesting ability junkie like I am, who enjoys anime like Black Clover, Hunter x Hunter, and JoJo's Bizarre Adventures, which are full of creative abilities that go beyond just hitting harder or moving faster, and are used in very clever ways. I will use Dragon Age Origins to visualize the difference between various types. The lowest level is playable stat modifiers. For example, Heroic Offense increases the attack of allies, while Arcane Bolt decreases the current HP of enemies. Afterward comes conditional modifiers, and here starts to become interesting for me because it takes skill to use them. Moreover, conditions can create even mini-missions. I divide conditions into soft-locked, that is, can use abilities outright, but they are very ineffective, such as heal can be used on a barely damaged ally, but the healed amount is so little compared to when used on a decently damaged one. And the other type is hard-locked, that is, abilities cannot be activated until conditions are met, such as Life Word. If in the next minute the target's HP drops below 33%, it is auto-healed. Hope I made my point on how standard and conditional ability types differ, why using conditions is a great tool to spice up combat, and now we get to true abilities, which are based outside playable stats. The lowest level at them is the game world's modifiers, such as Glyph of Repulsion can shove back anyone who enters in its range, basically changing the coordinates of the target in the game world, or slowing down time like in Dishonored or Skyrim, basically changing the speed with which time flows. And beyond that are outside-the-box mechanics, which you cannot describe just as changing an existing stat, such as Animate Dead, which summons a skeleton minion, or Blood Control, which allows to control the enemy. By the way, my rule of thumb in designing abilities is that the more powerful the ability, the more severe conditions it must have. Properly designed, it usually creates a nice balance, where weak abilities are used, because they are easy to activate and fulfill conditions of stronger abilities, while even insanely powerful abilities cannot be mindlessly spammed, and are more like satisfying finishers, rewarding clever thinking. Remember, as you venture forth into the world of gaming, seek what resonates with you and embrace it. For in this vast realm, each of us has our own story to craft and adventures to undertake. Whether you revel in the thrill of the dice or savor the mysteries of intricate battles, Let your imagination soar and your enjoyment be boundless. And congratulations for surviving this deep. You are more patient than more than 90% of people who started watching this video. As a reward, here are ways to save years, if not decades of your life with these life hacks. Or if you just enjoy deep dives into human psychology and pop culture, then still check out these videos.